how I managed to survive my first 12 months in business. Good afternoon and welcome to In the Car with Clint. I've had a few questions come through. Dylan's been bouncing them across, and one of them was, how do you manage to survive your first 12 months? Obviously, there's plenty of statistics out there around businesses that go bankrupt in their first 12 months. I'm not even going to attempt to reel them off because I don't know the numbers, but it is high. And it's like, I think starting a business is kind of like trying to push start an aeroplane. Like it's really, really hard to get that momentum, and then you kind of just use the momentum and keep it going, and that's when you kind of scale. And so for us, when we first started Fluid Designs, which was the business that was meant to be installing water features, which is a whole nother story, which is pretty funny, but it ended up being a lawn and irrigation installation business. And the way we survived in our first 12 months was by not spending more money than we made. And I know that sounds really basic, but the reality is, for a lot of businesses, it's not that simple. And a lot of people, even today, are spending more money. And when I say today, I mean they could be 5, 10, 20 years into their business, and they're spending more money than they're generating. More money than they are generating. And a trap for new business owners or new business people is to spend lots of money on fancy business cards and fancy logos and new cars, and pay very high wages to themselves because they deserve it. Or when they finished their last job, they were on 100 grand a year and they deserve 100 grand a year. And the reality is the business is going to suffer if you take too much out in the early days. So for us, we paid ourselves $300 a week. It was a partnership. We worked out of my back room in the house that we owned in Gillis Plains at the time. Our tables, or our desks, were trestle tables, which we had purchased from a hardware shop for 25 or 30 bucks each. And we did a lot of work and said yes to everything and worked it out along the way. And so for some people, you'll remember that I've talked about when it's the right time to say no. And in the early days of business, I think that you just say yes to everything and take everything, and then you start to refine your offering and work out what's important and what's not important, and what you should be spending time on, and what makes you money and what doesn't make you money. So don't worry about the flexing. Don't spend too much money on logos and shit. I mean, you might need a website and you might need some cards, but you can do that quite efficiently. I genuinely don't think anyone needs business cards anymore, and I don't understand why there's such a focus on it, especially with digital connection these days. Don't go buy a brand new Hilux. Get a second-hand car. Use your existing car. Borrow your parents' car. Live at home with your mum and dad. Share with a bunch of mates. Like, do not spend any money on anything that does not directly impact the bottom line of the business or the top line of the business in a positive manner, and do that for a very long time. The longer you do that for, the more likely your business is not going to just survive, but it is going to thrive. And then you will be in a position that you'll be very cash positive, and you'll be quite strong, that when you need the money to be able to buy undervalued assets, when people have meltdowns, or even if you have times of famine in winter, or I guess a metaphorical winter where you might have been affected by government shutdowns, or you might have been affected by a change of legislation around what things can and can't happen in your business, you will have some meat on the bone to survive those times. So that's how we did it. Didn't spend much money, worked our asses off. Thanks for tuning in to In the Car with Clint today. Have a wonderful day, or it will be a day. You'll be watching this in the morning. Be kind to each other. Most importantly, be kind to yourself. That matters. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. See ya.